That's what people say. And then you're gonna hate. Then you're gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Shake it off.
We're live.
That was good, dude.
Cheers, motherfucker.
You know the whole thing?
I just did. I shouldn't have. Woo! I lost my train of thought. Well,
God,
hello.
We sound like such bitches. We're like, ooh,
It's okay.
shots heard.
It's because we're not used to it. Hello, everyone who's ever put vodka in their Yeti during a parent-teacher conference.
Love it.
I'm Jamie, your host.
Oh, shit, dude. I jumped in early.
It's okay. You got excited.
Yeah. I'm excitable, Pete.
Well, like I didn't say earlier, welcome to Drunk and Demonic. If you are not a new listener, I want to apologize for the last episode. We fucked up the volume. We just kept paying attention to things we shouldn't have paid attention to. Wasn't even because we were too drunk. We just were really excited to make videos look better that we forgot to listen to the goddamn sound. And it sounded like complete other dog shit. And I was very upset. So was Peter. And we just want to say thank you for continuing to stick around. We made sure this one sounds good. So F your butt. You're going to love this shit.
F your butt?
Butt effing, baby.
Yeah, we just got a little overconfident, I think, last time. And we didn't do our due diligence.
Due diligence. We bobbed.
Making sure that the sound was correct.
We bobbed when
it was
we
a
should have
kick-ass
weaved.
episode.
It was great. I fucking loved it.
I think it was our best episode so far.
However, no one fucking listened to it because it sucked.
Because it fucking sucked.
Maybe we'll redo it if anyone cares about River Road.
Riverdale Road.
River Road. Riverdale Road. River Road in Steamboat Springs. Riverdale Road. Yeah.
The construction is
The
terrifying.
construction is fucking bad. It's closed.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Now I have to fucking take 40 all the way downtown.
Dude, I'm sorry about your life, dude. All right, with that being said, let's get into our unofficial sponsors. Shall we?
Dude, let's fucking do it.
All right, so I'll start it off. I have what we call a Grand Teton Tres Pecos Mexican Lager. This is out of Grand Teton, Wyoming, my motherland. If you guys don't know that about me, I'm from Wyoming. And
it explains a lot about you.
Yeah, right? I'm dumb as shit, dude.
It's not even in Wyoming. It's in Victor, Idaho, you dumb fuck.
Sorry. You didn't fucking know that.
I looked on it on the can.
Well, you didn't know that then, but
I didn't bring it.
Victor, Idaho is basically Jackson Hole.
That's true. But there's a big-ass fucking mountain range in the middle of them.
It's in between, damn near.
Yeah. And you have to, drive, I don't know, about 2 hours now, where it used to take you 20 minutes.
No, it used to take about an hour and a half, and now it probably takes 2 to 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy mudslide. We don't need to get into that. That's not true crime at all. That's
no,
Mother
dude.
Nature, motherfuckers.
I drove past it when the mudslide happened.
You did?
And it was fine, yeah. This summer, when I went to Montana, we drove through it, and it was fine.
When did you go to Montana? We don't need to talk about
In July, yeah.
Okay.
I digress. Sounds like Peter listens to what I'm talking about. All right, what's the next thing, Pete?
Our second sponsor, our liquor sponsor.
Liquor.
Is going to be Smashing Pumpkins. It is from Few Spirits out of Denver, Colorado.
Cool.
It is straight bourbon whiskey with Madame Zeus Midnight Rose Tea Infusion.
Why are they
may surprise you, but it's coming in at a 46.5%.
That's a lot for
alcohol
putting tea in it. Why
volume.
do they put tea in there?
I don't know why they put tea in
Maybe
there.
sleepy time tea?
We'll find out at the middle to end of this episode.
This is a really cool bottle.
It's fucking cool as shit.
What's Midnight Rose Tea?
I don't know what Midnight Rose Tea. It's now that you mention it, maybe it is going to put us to sleep.
Does it have anything?
It's been putting me to sleep pretty good. You can see that there's a pretty good dent already done in this bottle.
That's what bourbon's meant to do. Does this have anything to do with the band?
It is a collaboration, I guess.
You guess.
Sounds like something that Billy Corgan would be a part of. It was like, let's take fucking whiskey and we'll mix it with some tea.
Well, I'm sure like when you're like a rich person, you can just like people just throw shit at you. And so I'm sure Billy Corgan was like, hey, they're like, hey, do you want to make a whiskey? He's like, sure, that's fine.
Sure. I don't know. I just assume I don't like him.
Are you just thinking about the
I
slide?
just don't like his voice. I guess I don't know.
Didn't they just play in Denver?
Yeah,
Green
that's
Day?
actually where this bottle came from.
The show?
Longtime listener.
You're gonna name drop
the
one right now?
The Lizard.
Nice.
It's a alias. Also, our unnamed informant in the Aurora. why are you doing this?
Because it's really messing you up, and I love it.
In the Aurora gang invasion in Denver, our inside source. This is from that person.
Oh,
so
thank you, inside
we
source.
officially have an actual sponsored alcohol.
No, not really.
I didn't buy this, and you didn't buy it.
I don't think that counts like that. Let me get it clear.
Yeah, we're sponsored, dude.
Someone
Someone bought it for us.
We are not what's called sponsored, but I'll take it.
Sponsored athlete.
What's your other sponsorship?
Dude,
Shoot.
the other sponsorship we're gonna get to. I don't know if I should just crack it now so I can give. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it now.
Oh, how much does this have left?
About half.
Damn, you slam it, dude. Get drunk.
We got the Sunny D vodka seltzer. Should I slam this one or the other one?
The other one.
Okay.
So you can sip your Sunny D, dude. Ooh, good job.
All right. Now, I had to immediately chase that with a review of Sunny D
Have you
vodka
not had
seltzer.
one of those? You never had one?
It's got a hell of a crack. I'll start with that.
Fucking wonderful. Picture yourself on a boat in a river or on the lake.
Tangerine trees?
It's fucking good, dude. It reminds me of childhood.
Wow.
I don't like seltzers anymore, and I love that one.
It's pretty good. I love it because it has I know that it has lots of sugar in it, and I am a big fan of sugar.
It's got that hippie
anyone that likes sweet shit, gonna be a fan. Anyone that 100% obviously asks their bartender, is it sweet? Not gonna like this one.
That's hippie sugar.
Stevia?
Yeah, that's like that fake shit.
What do we got in here?
It's probably got like 2 grams of sugar in it.
You know what? It's not listed. I love that.
It's not, I want to say acetone, but that's like had a clean varnish.
No, you're talking about aspartame.
Aspartame. Ayo. That's what I was thinking of.
Yep. Anyways, quite good.
Anywho, I digress. I love saying that because it bothers me.
What are we digressing to, dude?
I don't know. It's just fun to say.
I think we're digressing straight to hell on earth.
Hell on earth. That's where we're getting started, huh?
Tonight is going to be a special episode.
Ooh,
because I took too much time researching to where I actually didn't get to pull a hell on earth story tonight. Mm-hmm. So Jamie is going to double down. He's going to split.
I think before you talk about hell on earth, why don't we talk about what our main episode is?
Oh, we can do that.
What are we talking about today, Pete?
Tonight's main event.
So dramatic,
dude. I got belly.
Oh.
I chugged the beer.
Well,
and
I'm
now it's all in my belly.
going to steal it from you.
Go for it, dude.
So we've brought it up multiple times on the podcast before, and now we're going to really dive.
We're driving straight into the deep end.
Into the Smiley Face murders? Question mark?
Question mark is correct.
Not killer.
Killers. Yeah. I think those things are all going to be like
killers. Yeah.
Smiley Face Killers / killer / murders / drownings. Okay.
Make sure you remember all that.
.com.
I almost said I digress again.
Digress it out, dude.
All right. With that being said, we can go right into hell on earth.
Why do we do the...
So, Peter, we usually
Okay.
We all like send each other, or one of us
Yeah,
will
we do
come
fun
up with
stories.
one, and we'll like surprise each other with one.
Yeah. And I told him about an hour ago that I didn't have one.
And then he got really mad when I said, "That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have those." He goes, well, "What did you look up?" Well, and I was like, I guess I already have two, so it doesn't matter anyways. I'm going to go into our girl Carly.
Carly Gregg.
Carly Gregg. She got convicted.
Convicted.
She is going for
Sentenced?
sentenced to life in prison.
No, she's not.
Yep.
Life? No way.
Yep. Tried as an adult. She denied
Convicted and sentenced.
both of those things. She's done. Why is that shocking?
Parole eligibility?
I didn't look that far into it.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
All I could see was that she was tried as an adult. I know for a fact she was convicted to
That is insane.
life. And she had a plea deal offer.
And she's too fucking crazy to take it.
It was 40 years. And she denied it.
Why?
Because she thought she didn't need that
She didn't.
much.
She was like, I'll beat this case.
No, because they thought that she could be clinically insane. And so she wouldn't get much.
Dude, I'm going to blame this one. I know that we've talked about it on the fucking lawyer.
Oh, because the lawyer was the one that decided to try to give her like criminal or the crazy thoughts.
Yes, but at the same time, her lawyer also fucked up, in my opinion. Like, you want to make the case, especially like, yes, you're at the time 14 when you commit this crime. Was it 14 or 12? I can't even.
It was 14.
It was so long ago. I can't even remember. All right. And so many shots ago. So she's 14, and her lawyer convinces her that she should take an insanity plea.
Yep.
Or mental health plea, right? I think that's a great call. But the last that I had seen was when they first had ruled that she was fit to stand trial because her lawyer had forgotten to submit the paperwork that had come from a doctor that he had paid to analyze her.
I just want to remind everyone that this is in Mississippi, so mistakes can be made, unfortunately. But yes, you're gonna blame. So I
think this is on the lawyer. I think that she could 100% have gotten at least some sense. Like, I can't believe she was tried as an adult. I can't believe that at least some form of mental health plea was not accepted. And I can't believe that she was sentenced to life in prison.
So
she's got to have parole at some point.
I would like to disagree with you.
Okay. Please do.
Because
this is good TV.
I think the person to blame is her.
Hold on. That is not fair. You were painting me into a corner here. That's not true. Fake news.
So
Damn it.
I don't know if you watched.
I should have seen this.
Have you watched like the camera from their house?
No, I haven't seen that
So
video.
the videos came out of her, and you can clearly see like a gun, like behind her, like she was holding behind her back, or
Her
was like in her
friend's
shirt.
lucky she didn't get shot either.
And then they show her walking away from the kitchen. Thank you. And they're the two dogs follow her, and then you just hear cha-cha, 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 like 3 shots, and then the dogs are like, oh, fuck. And then they get out of there.
What the fuck?
And then she walks back, and then she like looks around.
She know. Oh, I thought she was going to say she looks into the camera.
No, she didn't look in the camera, but she looked around to make sure no one
She
saw her.
should have looked into the camera. That's guaranteed mental health defense.
She also fucking like shot her stepfather, and he survived.
I know.
And it was like, she shot me. So,
She texted me to come home and then shot me.
but also, she did celebrate a birthday, so she's 15 now. So
Good for
happy,
her.
happy birthday, Carly! You are going to prison.
I don't think they have quinceañeras in jail.
Is she Mexican?
I don't know, but that's 15.
Oh, that's 16.
You're right.
You just proved how white you are. So we don't know anything about Mexican culture, and we do apologize. I apologize for what Peter has said and for what we do not know. I love your skulls. I
think
your,
I'm
love
right.
Your,
I'm
I love
pretty
your
sure
beers.
15. I'm looking it up.
I love that you put everything in some sort of tortilla and call it something different. Like maybe an enchilada isn't the same as a burrito. I get it.
15th
but I love
birthday.
it. You're right. So I'm wrong.
I'm cultured, dude.
Good for you. And then, yeah, that's all it on the.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was honestly like, I should look back into the Carly Gregg case, but you know what? You did it for me. I appreciate that about you.
Dude, just TikTok every once in a while.
That's
dude.
what I. That's what I appreciate. I will not.
China
TikTok.
is here to help you.
They're not.
China is here to help you.
That's what I appreciate about you, Jamie.
Jamie.
I appreciate that you TikTok.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Mostly certain that your girlfriend gives you all the shit that you talk
No,
about.
I look it up. I'm a full-blown looker-upper
You talk?
now. I fucking talk, dude. I'm a talker.
TikToker.
TikTok and you don't stop. So my next little piece of news.
Take that, rewind it back.
Exactly. I don't know if you have. I'm guessing you haven't like watched the news or anything like that. Or there, but there's like nothing big that has happened that we haven't talked about. Can you guess what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I'm gonna let you just keep rolling. There's a lot of things I could guess.
Every step I take.
Oh,
every move you make.
See, I was thinking like maybe you were going to talk about
every single day,
people trying to murder a former president, but you're talking about Diddy.
I'm talking about Diddy, baby.
The diddler himself.
Yes. Someone shot Trump, dude. Tried to shoot Trump. It happens.
Again.
Dems damn near got him. But yeah, I'm talking about fucking P. Diddy, dude. So he's in jail now.
Yeah.
On suicide watch.
He's not going to commit suicide.
He's going to get killed.
He's going to get suicided.
He's going to get,
is the term.
We call it Epsteined.
Yeah.
But speaking of my friend TikTok, if you watch what's going on with this on TikTok, what's a good way of saying they are blowing it out of proportion? Yeah, let's go with that.
That's
they're blowing it out
term.
of proportion.
What do you mean?
Oh, they're like no one knew that there was these underground layers in P. Diddy's house in Miami and in L.A. And then I'd look it up and like, that's obviously bullshit. And I actually had to like look up and see what he was like on trial for or what he was arrested for.
Yeah.
And he's arrested for having these lavish sex parties.
Mm-hmm.
And where they got him was they get women and men from foreign countries and they would bring them over for these sex acts.
Yep.
And that's where they got.
That's called trafficking.
It's exactly where.
Yeah.
And now TikTok's like, hey, all these people were like warning you about Diddy this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle.
This shit all started, I will say this, all started with Cat Williams.
You think so? Oh, because when he was on Shannon Sharp?
Yes. When Cat Williams went on Shannon Sharp. So last episode, I brought up that at Cancel This Clothing Company.
Yep.
And I would say 2 or 3 months ago, he had a video when who's the girl that is brought the original charges of sexual assault against Diddy? I can't remember what her name is, but when these charges first came out, it's like him like grabbing her and like slamming her into walls and like dragging her ass like down a hotel lobby and like down a hotel like hallway and shit like that. When all this shit happened, he came out with this video and
sorry.
What is happening?
I'm sorry.
Do we need to pause?
No. This is really good. This is good for the podcast.
All right, we have a folks. We apologize for this, but we have some recent updates for the podcast that need to be mentioned. We interrupt your normal broadcast for Whatever the fuck is so goddamn funny.
It's not funny. I forgot that I did. So, my girlfriend, who should, I guess we're not going to tell her name on here or anything like that. She told me that I can't buy any more Halloween decorations. Yes. And so I put up this skeleton with bat wings a couple days ago.
Yeah, because you like Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, and it just like didn't do anything. And then I got her like used to it. And then I put batteries in it tonight. And it's motion activated. And so when she walked,
so it hasn't been moving for the last couple days, and then you finally you put batteries in it tonight.
And so I assume she walked past it and it was like, rah! Started making noise, and she just texted me. It's like,
at this very moment, just got
she's
home.
Like, fuck you. She's like, we're in a fucking fight. I'm throwing this thing away.
No, give me this. All right. The text reads, "We're in a fucking fight. Almost had a heart attack calling the dogs in from the sliding door. It's going in the trash."
Yeah, I'm in trouble. Anyways, where were you?
Back to our regular scheduled program.
Is that fucked up? That was
No, I think that's fucking phenomenal.
right.
I'm so excited for this.
I can get it. I'll have to get it out of the trash. You have to remind me to get it hung up again and put it.
I'll let you know.
I'll put it in the closet.
I'll let you know. Put it in the bathroom. Anyways, so back when this whole original Diddy thing started, there was a video that came out, and it's not Diddy who's the biggest problem. Now, I will say that finding over 1,000 bottles of lube in your home might indicate that you have a problem with something.
Well, was that confirmed
Oh, yeah, for sure.
that there's 1,000 bottles?
Yeah. That was listed in what was taken from the house.
See, and I don't.
That's fucked. I don't know what you're doing unless you have an indoor slip and slide. You don't need 1,000 bottles of lube.
See, I don't know it's real anymore because I've like looked up so much shit.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing on the internet right now is, I don't know if you watch the Ocho. ESPN the Ocho. Yeah. There's this thing called Slippery Stairs.
yeah, dude,
and everyone's like, people trying to leave.
We used to have people bet at that, yeah. Bet on that at O'Neill's.
Yeah, people are like
that and the corgi racing.
Yeah, they're like people at P Diddy's house trying to get out, going up the sleepy stairs.
No, I don't know what your feelings and thoughts are on this case. Obviously, it's a little troubling. I think this is like they hit him with the only charges they know they have definite proof of. They have such a deeper, this is making the Epstein case look like child's play.
Well, yeah. I assume because it's the FBI.
The entire entertainment industry.
I assume it's because it's the FBI. They found what they could get him with to get him booked.
They want him to sing.
And now
I know one thing about Diddy. He can sing, dude.
No, he's a rapper. He doesn't sing well.
No, he sings. He sings on all the choruses.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's in a Tupac line.
Oh, he killed Tupac too. Admit it.
Yeah, just admit it, dude.
Admit it. So yeah, now everything is talking about.
Guy. Did you know that?
They
arrested someone
that guy came like last year. But they
put 2 years ago or something.
They brushed it so under the rug that I didn't believe it. It didn't really happen, or else it would have been bigger news.
Good skeptical mind. I like it.
They were like, oh yeah, so this guy also admitted on his deathbed that he murdered Tupac. You're like, yeah, likely fucking story.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see who is going to be in trouble for all this. I did see that
This is going to be so fucking bad.
Aaron Carter is releasing a book about it.
About it?
Just
he's
about
already
the whole.
Written it. It happened.
He's releasing a book about all the people that have been wronged, and he's
I can see him being a very similar story to Corey Feldman.
Yeah, He's straight up standing up for Michael Jackson and be like, you guys fucking wronged Michael Jackson. This was the wrong person. He wasn't a diddler. He was great. Here are the real people that framed Michael Jackson.
Cui bono? Who's benefiting from these things? As things move up, like people are forcing and blackmailing and doing all this stuff that like it just keeps moving up the chain to people do more and more fucked up things. I don't know if I'm still on screen. Am I still on screen? I think I'm out of screen right here.
You're still there.
Right up here.
Right at the top.
That's, I think, who the FBI is looking for with this Diddy case. They've got Diddy who's sitting about here.
Who do you think it is?
Like, I don't know.
Jesus.
You think it's Jesus?
I don't, dude. He's not even on Earth.
What do you mean, dude? He's within
This
us.
is hell on Earth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. All right. Next segment.
That was it.
Speaking of...
I don't know if you heard about it.
Of hell on Earth.
Let's talk about the horrors, dude.
Yeah, dude.
What'd you watch, baby?
I watched Immaculate. And I know you brought this up last
Why do you keep
episode.
following my footsteps, you fucking follower? Did you like it?
I'm trying to make good TV here.
Oh, okay.
This
is you don't
I
have
didn't
to, you don't
think
have
that
to,
it was that good.
I thought it was terrible. You can't call a podcast TV.
We're calling it TV,
All
dude.
right.
We're making good TV
Okay.
here.
So you watched Immaculate.
I did. I didn't think that the acting was very good by Sydney Sweeney. I didn't think that they... I don't know. I feel a little conflicted because, like, maybe it was a bad part because, like, the character was supposed to be kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. She's a nun, dude. That's what nuns do.
I thought that the premise behind the whole thing was a little inventive. I thought that it was kind of fun and cool. That are we spoiling it?
If you want. It's
I
been
don't
out
think we
since
should.
February.
Since February?
Yeah.
That's almost a year. We're like
Yeah. Damn near.
We're at like 8 months.
Yeah. If you want to spoil it, you can. I don't care.
I don't think I will.
Don't do it. Something happens that's an inventive.
Anyways, I thought that it was like that original, like the premise was kind of fun. I thought that the movie was super bad. The only part that I thought was like super like gripping and like worth watching was her just screaming at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. You wish that you got to see her kill the baby, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that. I don't really
What
even
about
need
the
to see
time?
that.
What about the time when she's like a random nun and she's just holding her big fat heavy naturals, and you're like, this definitely didn't need to be in this nun movie, but she's
Did that?
yeah,
I don't even remember that
Yeah.
part.
me neither. Someone had to bring it up. I
Definitely didn't remember that.
definitely
No,
wasn't
I
the
just
part I
remember, like, she's
remember.
floating like one time, and I was like, oh, like there's like she's wearing some crazy white gown, and like, oh, yep, I guess she has boobs. You can't see them, but they're there.
Yeah, there's a whole part where they like strip her naked,
Oh yeah, I do remember.
and she's like,
yeah.
"Look at my
But
nun
anyways,
boobs. I got nun boobs."
it was pretty like metal at the end when it's like a minute of her just straight screaming, covered in blood and shit like that. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
That was cool.
It's about the only part of the movie that I thought was very good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10.
I never would have guessed that.
All right,
What else you got? Anything else for horrors?
your turn.
My turn. So I don't know if you remember from last podcast, I went to watch Speak No Evil, and I misread the times.
What do you mean?
So I didn't go watch that.
Oh, so you didn't? You don't have anything to report?
No, I do. So
Okay.
I went and watched Don't Let Go
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just looking at this.
with Halle Berry,
Holly Berry. Remind me of Bird Box.
or A Quiet Place.
Yep.
Yes. I was like, all right. They were like, hey, let's keep using these same things. So anyways, Don't Let Go stars a Halle Berry and her 2 kids. And they are in the middle of nowhere. I assume in Oregon or Washington, because it's
They're big trees.
very wooded.
Yep.
And there's evil all around them. And only Halle Berry can see the evil. And the only thing that keeps them safe is this house. So what they do is they tie a rope and they tie it to, there's like this weird like prayer
It looks
area.
like a fucking like winch or something they were hooked into.
No, these are just ropes.
Oh.
And so they tie themselves ropes.
But like, you know what I mean? Like the ropes looked like they were
Yeah.
hooked into like a winch.
They were not.
Okay.
It was tied to like a little part inside of the house where she would like, if anything evil would happen to the boys, she'd like throw them in there and be like, say these fucking words right now, motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah,
say it. And then those kids would be like,
And they'd have to repeat like the very verse that they are like supposed to like
yeah.
whatever say.
Yes. And so, yeah, they would go take these ropes and they would go forage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then she would see murderous things. And one of the boys.
And the camera, when it's following her, can see these things?
Yes. So you'd like see these scary, spooky ghosts.
Yeah.
And be like, and be like, ooh, maybe she is right.
Yeah.
So they have one boy who really like believes everything she says. She's like, no, Mom would never lie. And then they have one boy who's very skeptical.
Fucking suck up.
Yeah. One boy's like, I fucking think Mom is nuts.
Because she is.
We've been living in this fucking house with no one else. We don't know what's right. And there was a point in the movie, which I won't go into, that I was going to leave.
It was that bad?
No, it was that I was pissed off if they were going to do it.
Oh,
and they didn't do it. So I stayed.
I don't think I've ever thought that in a movie, that I was going to leave.
I won't spoil it, but I was like pretty upset.
And they didn't do it, though.
They didn't do it.
All right. So all you out there that are like, fuck this, I'm going to leave if they do that.
Yeah.
Hang in there. You'll be all right.
Yeah. And then from there, you find out which kid is right about their crazy mom. And that's it. So that's... I just forgot what it was called. Never Let Go.
Never Let Go.
Never Let Go. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to bounce back. Do you have anything else for Hell on Earth? Or Movie
Hell
Madness?
on Earth.
Sorry.
Movie Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, keep going.
Thanks for
Because
interrupting.
we're going to bounce back to me at the end.
Thank you for interrupting me again.
I didn't
I
interrupt
fucking
you. I was
hate
just
it.
asking.
Why? No. I was still talking.
Why are you so mad at me?
I don't know. So, the previews, fucking phenomenal. There's like some really good horror movies coming out.
Yeah.
And it's not like...
Run through them. It's Scream 7. One
No,
of those.
no. Shut the fuck up. It's not like me and you excited about horror movies out. There's like legit like money into some of these horror movies that are coming out. Like I said, the first one, there's a Nosferatu movie coming out.
It looks
So good,
fucking
so good.
I am so excited for Nosferatu.
The other one, the Wolfman one.
Have not seen anything for this.
Yeah, so they're gonna revamp or redo all the Universal monsters.
Starting with
Wolfman.
Nosferatu is part of that, correct? No, Nosferatu's
Dracula
older
is.
than that.
Nosferatu is like literally like the start of
The
Dracula.
OG
Yeah.
of horror.
No, but they're gonna do like Creatures of the Black Lagoon, like
Really?
Invisible Man.
Didn't they already do
Wolfman.
Invisible Man?
No, well, they tried to revamp.
Yeah, they had.
They
What's
tried
her
to
name
revamp the
from-
Mummy with the Tom Cruise movie, and it didn't go well.
No. I'm. Wait, the Mummy?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Brendan Fraser?
No, so yes, he was in that movie, but
And
they
then they
also tried to
bring it
redo like a separate, like just to be like the Mummy from the Universal movies,
Right. Okay.
with Tom Cruise, and it fucking bombed.
Wait, but okay. So wasn't there an Invisible Man movie that was made like 5 or 6 years ago? It had the girl from Handmaid's Tale in it.
Oh, not that I know of. You know what?
But this one's like fucking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All I'm thinking of is the one with Kevin Bacon, like back in like 2002.
The Invisibles.
No, there was a movie where he was like an invisible person and he killed people. No.
Elizabeth Moss.
Yes. Oh, I knew that part.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to bring up what movie
No,
it was.
like this movie. Like, you want me to read you the synopsis?
No,
dude?
no. Let's just. So
They
they're
already did The
redo.
Invisible Man, 2020.
Okay. So I don't know if it ties to the Universal movies,
I don't know either.
but they're revamping it because they're building a new, like,
I like that they're just digging back and they're like, hey, you know what? We don't need to write new movies. Let's just take the old ones that were hits and make them hits again.
Well, these were.
I'm excited about it though because the old ones are so old.
These were written in like 1920.
Yeah,
and they still have them like throughout Universal, and so I think why they're doing it is they're building a land. They're building a new amusement park in Orlando, and one of the lands is going to be called Dark Universe.
Is it going to be called Horror Orlando?
No.
Horror Orlando?
No, you dumbass. It's not going to be called that.
Why?
It's called because that's a stupid fucking name.
No, it's not. It's a cool name, dude. I freaking came up with it.
Yeah, that's why you're not allowed to do that.
Horror Orlando?
Yeah, so it's called Dark Universe, and it's going to be all about the recreation of the Universal monsters. So it should be cool. So they're starting with Wolfman.
Okay.
The other one I saw was called Heretic.
I don't know if I know about this one.
It's got Hugh Grant in it. It's made from A24. Looks fucking phenomenal.
I was a little skeptical on like the A24 hype just because like it's like okay, like what's this like? I thought at the time that it was like a super indie like production company. Everything I've seen from them so far has been so good though.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, everyone's like, oh, A24, it's for like the hipsters or something like that. It's been so good.
Yeah, Talk to Me was fucking awesome.
Talk to Me was phenomenal. Late Night with the Devil, phenomenal.
Did you ever watch Everything All at Once?
I saw half of it and then I fell asleep because I started it after I got done with work and it was like 1 a.m. All right,
I was just wondering about
alone.
that. Well, I remember like 5 or 6 podcasts ago, you're like, dude, I'm gonna watch that. I'm like, yeah, right.
I tried.
Can I tell you the funny part?
No.
Yeah, still?
Yeah.
Can I ruin it for you?
No, don't ruin it.
Well,
because I like it.
Still wanted to talk about the funny. All right, you're right. I won't do it. Watch it.
Please don't.
And then you'll remember.
You get one more episode. Next episode, you can fucking ruin the whole thing.
Perfect. So
you heard it here, folks.
Either way, I'm excited about movies coming out. It just happens. I don't know. You saw the thumbs up, right?
Yeah, no, it did it again.
Is it just my phone, or no? Is it just the computer?
It reads us, dude. When I pointed, it put a thumbs up.
Artificial intelligence, quit doing thumbs up on our
fucking
screen.
Leave us alone. AI, we know when we're funny. You don't need to tell us.
Either that or they're being a fucking smart ass about it.
All right.
So that's all I have for
all right.
horrors.
I have one more movie that I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you need to watch. Watcher.
Ooh, no.
It's with from Longlegs, Micah Monroe.
Okay.
Her and her boyfriend, maybe her husband, I can't remember, move over to Romania.
Ooh.
And they're living in this house. She's an ex-actress, Hollywood actress, I think. I can't remember if it was Broadway, but I'm pretty sure it's like Hollywood. They at least have some money. He's a contractor, so he's at work all the time. And she notices that like in their street, directly across from their home, there's this dude who's just sitting in the window looking at them the whole time, like all the time.
It's on Netflix?
It is, I think I saw it on Shudder.
Okay, so no.
It might be on Netflix,
I mean,
actually.
it's something different.
I watched it on, no, I think it was on Netflix, actually.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing the preview for it.
It is super good. I can't recommend it enough.
dude.
Yep. I think I'd give it like 8.5 to 9 out of 10. It
8.5
fucks with you a lot.
To 9 out of 10?
Yep.
8.5 to 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Okay.
High. I
Which
give
one?
it high ratings. I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
That sounds great.
Suspenseful, tricks you, it
Ooh.
makes you doubt what you're seeing, all kinds of fun stuff. I thought that The Watcher was maybe my favorite movie I've seen this year.
Better than Inside Out 2?
It was so good, dude.
I haven't seen
The hockey aspect being funneled in really went to my heart.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Dude,
No.
I saw it, dude. It was so good. And plus they introduce anxiety into the whole equation. Oh, man, that really hit home.
Okay.
All right. So they introduced hockey and anxiety, which like, man. Straight to my heart.
So other than Inside Out 2, The Watcher is the best movie you've seen since 2000 or in 2000.
I think so. I think it's probably the best horror movie I've seen in 2024.
Sweet.
Yeah, across the board.
Sweet tits, dude. Tits are sweet.
There's some tits in this movie.
Cool, dude.
I can't remember.
In Inside Out 2?
Not in Inside Out 2.
No, in The
Stop,
Watcher.
dude.
Why?
Stop trying to tie Inside Out 2 into the show.
Why?
You're making me nervous.
I'm sorry.
That's an Inside Out 2.
All right. Oh, I'm pretty sure you're making me nervous is more than just Inside Out 2.
It's a character, dude.
Well, with that being said, you want to go to the main event. Hopefully everyone's got go pee, got a pillow.
Are you trying to tell them
Put your kids to bed. Put your kids
yeah.
to bed because Peter's got a banger for you.
Yep. Tonight's episode, the main event, is going to be about, like we talked about, the Smiley Face Killings, killer, murders, drownings. Those can all be used interchangeably.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Patrick McNeil was an all-star. In his junior year at Fordham University in New York City, he had a 4.0 GPA. Not only was Patrick smart, but he was well-liked by both his peers and even his teachers, who often praised his work. He was an athletic and ambitious 21-year-old with dreams of one day working for the FBI.
Ooh, cool.
However, on the evening of February 16th, 1997, he would go missing, only to be found dead 50 days later, having drowned in the East River in New York City. Mm-hmm. The detective working Patrick's case vowed to the McNeil family that he would not stop until he found out what had happened to young Patrick. Detective Kevin Gannon remains true to his word even to this day, more than 25 years later, and has not stopped searching for the answers to Patrick's death. Along the way, however, Detective Gannon has also taken on hundreds of other cases with eerie similarities to Patrick's death, and has brought them under the investigative umbrella referred to as the Smiley Face Killers.
Whoa. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event, where we'll be discussing the cases and theory behind Detective Gannon's theory, the Smiley Face Killers. As I just mentioned, the number of deaths associated with this case range anywhere from 40 to 300. What? Since we don't have time to cover all the cases, obviously, we will be discussing the cases that are the most suspicious and or significant in the timeline of the Smiley Face Killers investigation. With that being said, let's circle back to Patrick McNeil and where this whole broad investigation got its roots.
Patient Zero.
Pretty much, yeah. Did you ever see that Cabin Zero or Cabin Fever, Patient Zero?
No, I saw the original Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever was dope.
Oh.
Anyways, I don't know why I brought that up.
They definitely called it in all the things I watched. He was
like, hey, that guy's going to be sick.
No. So this is considered Patient Zero.
Yep.
So that's why I said it.
As we mentioned, 21-year-old Patrick McNeil, the honor roll athlete, is out celebrating with his friends at the Dapper Dog in Upper East Side of Manhattan on the evening of February 16th, 1997. Patrick was having a good time, but then suddenly he gets sick and he pukes in the bathroom of the Dapper Dog. A friend says she will take him home, but decides that she needs to use the bathroom first. Patrick goes outside and is waiting for her. He initially is waiting outside and then decides to start walking home by himself, and the last time that Patrick will be seen alive is as he's stumbling down the block near the Dapper Dog. Detective Kevin Gannon is assigned to Patrick's missing persons case. In his investigation, it is revealed that Patrick was not much of a drinker, and he hadn't had all that much to drink that evening. A witness to this disappearance had seen an unmarked white van double parked outside of the Dapper Dog. That same van followed Patrick. Even when he stumbled, the van would slow down. When he would waver, it would stop. And when he went around the corner at the end of the block, it also took that right-hand turn.
And this one person, said all this. The one witness was like, "Yeah, I watched this man do this."
Yeah, I don't know if it was a specific person or if it was from like surveillance footage outside, but it is definitely reported.
I had not heard
think
this.
that it's from a person because a partial license plate was also recorded by whoever this witness was. I feel like if you were able to get a partial plate, you could probably get a full plate with an actual surveillance system.
But they didn't.
50 days later, Patrick's body is found in the East River, 12 miles from the Dapper Dog where he was last seen. Patrick's death was ruled an accidental drowning and the case was closed. However, the state of Patrick's body made Kevin Gannon suspicious of this ruling. However, since Patrick was no longer a missing person, the case was no longer under Detective Gannon's supervision and he had no say on how the investigation proceeded. Despite this, as we mentioned, Kevin promised the McNeil family that he would get to the truth of Patrick's death. Let's talk about the evidence in the case.
Let's do it.
The condition of Patrick's body was not consistent with someone who had been in the water for 50 days. Patrick looked to have been in the water for at most 10 days, not the full 50 that he had been missing. This inconsistency is going to be one of the most common threads connecting the cases that follow throughout the entire Smiley Face investigations. His toxicology report listed his blood alcohol level at 0.16, which is double the legal limit, but I would hardly say that is drunk enough to fall into a river and die.
No, I'm probably 0.16 right now, baby.
That's my guy right there, dude. All right. The
That
river
being
that he
said,
fell
hold on.
into.
That being said-
we'll start there. We'll just go with that. Let's bump these levels up. We'll get these numbers up. We're at rookie numbers right now. All right. So the East
Rose
River
tea.
was the opposite direction of where Patrick should have been going back to Fordham University. And the place where police identified he had entered the water was behind a tall chain link fence. It didn't make sense to Detective Gannon. Also found on Patrick's body was indoor fly larvae. Now, this is interesting because he was spending 50 days outside in February. Flies don't exist in New York in February. So the fact that they found not only regular fly larvae, but apparently indoor fly larvae, huge red flag.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was indoor flies. Like, I know that flies are in the house, like they call them house flies.
They call them
I didn't know
house
they were
flies. strictly
indoor flies.
I don't know
this.
if there is. That's kind of how they described it in this case, and from everything I listened to, I think the biggest thing they're referencing is it's too cold in New York in February for flies to be laying larvae.
Or also, this type of fly does not do well outside at night.
Yeah,
or in the cold.
Yeah, exactly. Another
shit was set up.
You're good, dude. It is. It's very interesting.
I don't think this makes sense. That's redneck Jamie.
Yeah, you're redneck Kevin Gannon right now. Another huge thing that was strange about this case is that Patrick was found face up in the water, not face down like most people are in drowning cases. And to me, the biggest evidence is that Patrick seemed to have been burned from pretty much his torso to the top of his head, but only on one side. He did have possible ligature marks, both at his neck as well as around his waist, suggesting that he may have been tied to a chair when he was burned, because it was all on the front of him except for these certain spots where he was burned extremely bad at. So this led Detective Gannon to believe that potentially he was held, kidnapped, tortured, and held, and then killed and disposed of in the water later. It also is a long ways and a very difficult path to get to where Patrick was found from the Dapper Dog.
You have to jump over a whole fence?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the greatest place to go piss.
No.
You just piss on the fence.
No, just piss right outside the door of the Dapper Dog.
Yeah, he's literally
inside,
to the point of puking. He's not going that far.
or inside of the Dapper Dog.
Where he was just at and puked.
Definitely has toilets.
Yep.
Don't add up.
Anyways, so the following year, 2 other young athletic men would go missing in New York City and be found in the water under similar circumstances. The first was Lawrence Andrews, and he was actually found in the same year. He was out celebrating New Year's in 1997. He was found 44 days after he was separated from his friends on New Year's Eve. Watched the ball drop. They were hanging out. The last time he was seen was about 1:30 a.m. There are inconsistencies with the accidental death ruling that he was given. The biggest reason being that he was found 44 days after he was missing and had only shown very slight decomposition. GHB, which is going to be brought up again and again and again, a common,
Your
let's
favorite
call it
drug.
date rape drug.
Your drug. You love taking it.
It was what I was going to do for our Hell on Earth part.
You talking about the drugs you take?
When I almost got murdered.
We got drugged out at Lucero. I remember that. You didn't get murdered. You got date rape drug for
if
sure.
you weren't there to save me, if you and Amber weren't there to haul my ass home, maybe, dude.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Yeah.
I could have been a victim of the Smiley Face Killer, dude.
Either that or you could have got raped.
Poudre River's right there.
Yeah.
It's literally less than a half a mile from where we were.
I really think it was
Could have found me.
the singer's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. If you ever hear this, Ben Nichols' ex-girlfriend
From Fort Collins.
from Fort Collins, we remember you.
And you drugged
Just kidding,
Pete.
I don't, but
You drugged Pete.
you tried to drug Ben Nichols and he gave me his shot.
You guys shared it.
Yeah. We shared it and I got real sick.
I've
I don't know
never
what
seen
happened
that
to Ben
drunk.
Nichols, but he's still recording music, so
He's still doing it.
I know he's alive. So love that for him.
He's alive.
He probably has good friends too. All right. The second person that ties this whole New York City case together is Joshua Bender. Like the previous 2 cases, Bender was out with friends when he became sick and was separated from his group. He was found in the East River 2 weeks after his disappearance, but it only looked like he'd been in the water for a few hours. Being that Joshua was Orthodox Jewish, his family decided not to run a toxicology report, so we do not know if Joshua had any drugs in his system.
Because he was Jewish, that's what you said, right? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
His family was like, "Hey, we're not gonna like do all these testings and stuff like that. We're like
because it was
upset about
unorthodox
this,
Jew, yeah.
and he needs to be also buried within a very small amount of time."
Mm-hmm.
I bring up these second 2 cases briefly because there is less information available, and to also highlight the fact that while Kevin Gannon is not assigned to these cases, either Lawrence or Joshua Bender, he is taking notice of the suspicious drowning cases going on in New York City, and he is still deeply investigating the case of Patrick McNeil. In 2000, Kevin retires from his position in the NYPD, and his former partner Anthony Duarte go into private detective sector, and they establish GDI, or Global Death Investigations. We now head to the Midwest, where many of the cases in the Smiley Face Killers are located, as we look into the case of Brian Welzian.
Okay.
Brian Welzian was a 21-year-old student at Northern Illinois University, NIU. Like the previous victims, Brian was smart and athletic. He traveled to Chicago to celebrate New Year's Eve, 1999.
Like the Prince song. That's why you're looking at me.
Yeah, dude. Y2K, baby.
Yeah, I remember.
All right. I honestly, I think I remember going to a New Year's party. I'm pretty sure it was 1999.
Really?
And I got to ride around with snowmobiles. We went sledding, and they had all these dumbass 2000s glasses. You remember those?
I do.
Yeah, they pretty much came out with them every year in the 2000s before it became 2010.
Yep.
Super stupid fucking glasses. I
Why?
for sure remember that.
Why don't you like the 2010s?
What?
Why don't you like the 2010s? Why don't you like the glasses? I've seen you
No,
wear
the
way
2010s
stupider.
are fine.
I've seen you wear way stupider glasses, dude.
Yeah, no, like with like it's 2006, and it's like you have a 2, and then you have the 2 glasses rims, and then you have the fucking 6 on the other end. It's just fucking dumb, dude.
Have you thought that people were probably like had a bad year, and then they just were really excited to start the year off right, and that was their way of like being excited?
Are you proud of what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
You're just like the eternal optimist,
you're
Jamie over
being
here.
a Debbie fucking
Mr.
downer.
Mr. Optimist
Yeah,
over here.
you're shitting on people's dreams. You heard it here first.
I'm literally not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the glasses were stupid.
They were.
I'm glad we got there eventually. All right.
I just want to see how mad you get.
Back to Brian Welzian.
Yep.
According to friends, Brian had gotten rather intoxicated to the point of vomiting multiple times. When his friends had gotten him back to their hotel, one friend dropped Welzian and 2 other friends off at the hotel lobby, but they were denied entry by the front desk clerk. Brian was instructed to wait outside the hotel by his friends that went up to grab their things as they were going to return back home instead of staying in the hotel. When the last friend who had dropped them off returned from parking the vehicle, Brian Welzian was already gone. His body would be found 77 days later on a shore of Lake Michigan in Gary, Indiana, about 30 miles away from Chicago.
Home of Michael Jackson.
It's from Gary, Indiana?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did.
I just know that it's like the enemy of fucking what's her name in Parks and Rec?
Leslie Knope?
Yeah, Leslie Knope. It was like Gary, Indiana sucks. Pawnee's where it's at. They always fight about it.
No, that's not Gary in Indiana. That was it was another. It was a made up place that's right next to it. Yeah, I can't even think about it. Yeah,
so stupid that I even
Go
thought
on
to bring it up.
Talk about murder.
His death again was ruled like the others an accidental drowning. However, there were multiple discrepancies about the nature of the body and its location to conclude that Brian went into the water on New Year's Eve. One, Brian's body had shown very little decomposition. It appeared that the body had been in the water for less than 1 week, compared to 77 days.
Mm-hmm.
He was found with fixed lividity on his back. Now, lividity, we're going to just like real quick explain it. It's when you die and all the blood pools in one area of your body because it doesn't keep circulating because you're dead.
Yeah, I totally knew that. So thanks for explaining to all the people that didn't know that.
Well, some people might not know.
Yeah.
All right. What?
I had no idea what that was.
You didn't know what lividity is?
Listen,
I host a true crime podcast with you, and you don't know what lividity
I
is?
don't give a shit, dude.
Come on,
There's
dude.
a lot of shit that I know that you don't know, so fuck
So
you.
I guess I'll like break it down just a little bit more. When you die, your heart stops pumping, which means that your blood stops flowing through all the veins in your body. Mm-hmm. What happens when you die is that whatever is the lowest point of gravity is where your blood will settle, right? This is how lots of like forensic pathologists determine where people and how people are positioned when they die, which makes this case specifically quite interesting because he has fixed lividity, meaning it's not spread. It's in one place, and I said it's on his back. It was listed as his posterior. It's his butt, his back, the back of his legs, that kind of stuff. Yep. This would imply that Brian had been face up, like Patrick, traveling in the water for a long period of time, around like 12 to 16 hours is how long it takes to pretty much like fix lividity. Keep in mind that Lake Michigan is so large, it has its own waves and would have moved the body so much that it is almost impossible that fixed lividity would have taken place. It's entirely possible that he could have ended up face up, but it is almost impossible that he would have been completely fixed for any period of time and his entire time on the water.
Because of all the waves.
Yep.
Makes sense.
He also traveled 30 miles across Lake Michigan.
So what do you think? You think he was just like dead in a bathtub forever and then they just threw him in the lake?
No, I think, and we'll get to like the theory on all of this, but like, I think that these men are abducted and held.
Yeah, obviously.
And then later,
yes, obviously.
disposed of in bodies of water. And that's where we get to with the smiley face thing. So far, only... Anyways, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
Brian's toxicology report indicated 0.084 blood alcohol level. That is just barely above the legal limit to drive. He was not tested for GHB at the time, as it would have... As this took place in 2000, it was still a year or like quite a few years before Kevin Gannon and his team would stumble upon the crime. There was no liquid found in Brian's lungs. However, there were traces of sand found in his throat, which is interesting. So no liquid in his lungs mean that he didn't drown from water.
Yep.
And they think that the fact that there was sand in his throat but not ingested means that it just came from him when he was dead.
So they put sand in his
That
mouth.
sand washed into him while he was laying on the beach.
I get it.
With that, we're going to move on to the next part as we discuss Dr. Lee Gilbertson.
Okay.
And I have to pee.
I'll see ya. We're back from peeing. So we'll go back in. Sorry. In order to be drunk and demonic, you have to either be drinking, and when you drink, you pee. So I'll give you back to my friend Peter here, the host, not just guest. Where were you?
So we just discussed Brian Welzian, our first case located in the Midwest of the United States. We will now introduce another key player in this investigation, Dr. Lee Gilbertson. Lee Gilbertson was a professor of criminal justice at St. Cloud State College in St. Cloud, Minnesota. He also has a doctorate degree in sociology from Western Michigan University.
Interesting.
At the time he became involved with the Smiley Face killing case, he was a specialist in forensic victimology and cults/extremist groups. Gilbertson's interest in suspicious drownings of deaths
Shake it out.
All right. I'm taking the shot.
I stay out too late.
I think we just I need to get back in the flow.
Veins.
I can be the same.
That's what people say. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off.
All right. Gilbertson's interest in suspicious drowning deaths actually began independent of Kevin Gannon's investigations. He noticed a specifically high number of deaths of young athletic men who were classified as accidental or undetermined drownings in the Midwest. His interests originally began in the case of Chris Jenkins.
Chris Jenkins.
Man, that's good.
I think there's that YouTube video.
Yeah,
Leroy
Jenkins. And the dude just
rushes in.
Was that World of Warcraft or something like that? I can't remember. Leroy Jenkins. This is not Leroy Jenkins.
Yes, go on.
This is Christopher Jenkins. A 21-year-old from the University of Minnesota. He was described as a popular, well-liked student with a passion for hockey. Chris had a large circle of friends and a stable family life. On October 31st, 2002, Chris was last seen at the Lone Tree Bar and Grill in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he was celebrating Halloween with his friends and his girlfriend. Sorry,
Ooh.
just one.
Just two.
Maybe there was more than one. Maybe that's why this whole
isn't
thing
Utah.
happened. Anyways.
I digress.
Little controversial, but Chris was dressed as a Native American.
Ooh, why?
For Halloween. I don't know.
You can't do that anymore.
2002, dude.
You can't do that anymore.
Not anymore. He got canceled.
Yeah.
Way before canceling was.
He got murdered. That's not.
That's technically canceled.
It's technically that's life canceled.
It's super canceled.
You're right.
At some point during this evening, though, Chris was reportedly ejected from the bar. Some reports suggest that it was due to an altercation, while others indicate he may have accidentally spilled a drink on someone. After being thrown out, Chris left without his wallet, his jacket, or his cell phone, since he was only in his costume that didn't obviously have any pockets.
Mm-hmm.
This is notable because it was a cold Minnesota night late in October. Friends at the bar didn't see him leave, and no one could confirm what happened to him after he exited the building. He was reportedly last seen heading towards Hennepin Avenue Bridge, a bridge over the Mississippi River. On February 27th, 119 days after his disappearance, his body was found at the Mississippi River near St. Anthony Falls, about a mile and a half from where he was last seen. 119 days he traveled 1 mile and a half.
Yeah, right.
His body was found floating on his back with his, so again, face up, with his arms crossed over his chest, and his head was kind of tucked into his shoulder a little bit. This was highly unusual, as drowning victims are rarely found in like this kind of controlled position.
Yep.
What is suggested is that like your body becomes, like we were talking about lividity, your muscles also contract and they stick in place to whenever, like within a certain amount of time after you die, your muscles eventually tighten to stick to a certain point. So it's crazy unlikely that Chris would have drowned of his own accord with his hands crossed and his head tucked into his own shoulder.
Unless he was a vampire.
I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But water wouldn't have killed him. I didn't see anything about a steak.
You got to look.
Or sunlight.
You got to look at
but he was in the water for a long time. The sunlight would have completely evaporated his entire body.
Oh, so yeah, rule that out.
Okay, we'll rule out the vampire theory then. Sweet. I'm glad we can move past that one. The death was initially ruled an accidental drowning with no signs of foul play. Authorities suggested that Chris may have been intoxicated and wandered into the river on his own. Here are the suspicious details surrounding this case. As mentioned earlier, Chris's body was found on his back with his arms crossed, a posture inconsistent with any type of drowning. This led investigators to believe that he had been placed in the river after death. Like with Brian, there was no water in Chris's lungs, again leading them to think that he had died before he was put in the water. His injuries. While the official autopsy report is not fully detailed, some sources state that Chris had injuries that could indicate foul play. However, these injuries weren't consistent with falling into the river or an accidental drowning. And it was reported that a Minneapolis police officer was interested in Chris's girlfriend and had the bouncer throw Chris out of the bar. I thought that was like a super interesting part of this, is that his girlfriend was dressed up as a police officer.
And got thrown out.
Yep. And, well, but like his girlfriend is, so he's there with his girlfriend. A part of this friend group-ish that he's tied in with is another guy who is a police officer. His girlfriend borrows this police officer's clothes for her costume, and then all of a sudden, this girl's boyfriend is thrown out of the bar and not allowed back in. And then he's found 119 days later in the water. I don't know. It's suspicious. I think there may be a cover-up.
You think it was the cops?
I don't know.
You think that guy
I think
was
that
banging
it's
that
certainly
chick?
very suspicious.
Every single thing you've said so far tonight this is suspicious.
You know, there's that part in Parks and
It's
Rec when they're
suspicious.
like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I do.
Don't be suspicious.
Are you watching Parks and Rec right now? Is that why you...
No, I just remember it.
That's why
I never I like The Office a lot, but I definitely watched more Parks and Rec.
Yeah, because it's way better than The Office.
Yeah,
in my
they're
personal
both
opinion.
phenomenal.
In my personal
Big shout out to both. You can sponsor us
in the
if you want.
chats.
I don't know how you
shows that are no longer
TV shows that aired 10 years ago.
Can you
please
sponsor us? Cool.
Jim and Pam, love the shout out. All right.
Quiet Place was dope.
I thought Quiet Place was good.
Yeah, he wrote it.
I knew that. And he just like decided to cast his whole family in it.
Yeah, why not? Damn near.
All right. Chris's death, however, would later be classified as a homicide.
Why?
All right, so
what if I never know?
Would later be classified as a homicide from pressure from Kevin Gannon and the GBI team, who would later involve the Gilbertson, who we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Another case that caught the eye of Dr. Gilbertson was the disappearance of Josh Gimahl. Josh was a 20-year-old student at St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota. Josh was highly intelligent. He was active in student government and was a devout Catholic. St. John's University, obviously a Catholic school. He was described as a driven young man with a bright future ahead of him. He disappeared November 9th, 2002 from the campus in Collegeville, Minnesota. Josh had attended a poker night at a friend's dorm room at Metten Court with several friends. He left the gathering about 1:30 p.m. to head back to his own dorm, St. Maur House, a short walking distance away. It was a cold Minnesota night, being that it was November.
You said
9th.
1:30 p.m.
Sorry. I meant 11:30 p.m. There was another one in there.
There we go.
Yep.
It can't be that cold.
What do you mean?
It's Minnesota, so it's cold. But
it's always fucking.
guess
I
when
assume
you
that it's
said-
always in cold
when
Minnesota.
you said
I've never
night.
been there, but I assume that it's
Dude,
fucking
it's like
cold
the coldest
all the time.
fucking place in the world.
It's way the fuck north. Anyways,
I digress.
you do digress.
I do all the time.
It was a cold Minnesota night, and students typically walked between buildings or across campus on these beat down paths. They weren't necessarily paved, but they were definitely like these weird like spiral paths that went, or like web of paths that went all over the place. Yeah, just like Lana, they wave.
Wavy baby.
Yep.
I was thinking like a snake.
Slow little snack. Yeah, they kind of snake across campus. Josh never arrived back at his dorm, however, and was never seen again. His disappearance was unusual because the walk was short, well lit, and by all accounts, typically safe. And Josh left behind all his personal belongings, including his car, somehow his wallet, even though he went to a poker night. I don't quite understand that. Indicating that he wasn't planning to go far and he wasn't planning on leaving. Josh was reported missing the next day when his friends and family realized he had not returned to his dorm room. Extensive searches were conducted on campus and in the surrounding areas, including nearby lakes and wooded areas. The search involved hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement, tracking dogs, and divers.
What are I was thinking about volunteers.
Extensive searches.
Volunteers.
All right, get out of here.
That's fun for me.
Extensive searches were conducted on campus and in the surrounding area, including nearby lakes and wooded areas. The search involved hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement, tracking dogs, and divers. With two lakes, Lake Sagatan and Stumpf Lake. I love that lake.
Really?
Located close to St. John's campus, divers searched the bodies of water extensively. However, there were no signs that Josh had fallen into water or drowned. There were no signs of foul play along the scene where Josh would have walked, and Josh's disappearance seemed to occur without any witness or clear explanation. Given the exhaustive searches of the lakes and the absence of any evidence found suggesting Josh had accidentally drowned, authorities began to consider foul play more seriously. Unlike any other cases associated with the Smiley Face Killings theory, Josh's body has never been recovered, which adds to the mystery and the complexity of this case. The next Midwest case we will cover will be the case of Todd Guy. Todd Guy was a 21-year-old male from Casanova, Michigan, a small rural town near Grand Rapids. He was described as outgoing and fun-loving. Todd had many friends and was well-liked in the community. He worked in construction and had no known enemies. On June 11th, 2005, Todd attended a party in the rural area of Casanova Township near an intersection of Bailey Road and Moon Road. It was an outdoor bonfire party with alcohol involved. I had also heard this party described as an orchard party, which sounds fucking disgusting because I fucking hate apples.
Why do you hate apples?
I can't deal with the crunch.
Okay.
I think we've described
It's
this
fucking
before.
so gross. Okay.
No, like when you like eat into an apple and you like think that it's styrofoam.
No.
You've never had that happen to you ever?
No. Have you ate an accidental apple once?
I don't think I ate an accidental apple. I think I accidentally ate styrofoam when I was a child.
Your mom set up like fake apples.
No, I think this is something to do with my dad.
In the fruit basket.
Or maybe I was like a dumb kid, like my parents got like a new TV or something like that, and I like grabbed the styrofoam and like tried to eat it or something.
No, I remember like when I was a kid, there was like fake fruit in a basket.
Oh yeah,
that was a thing.
And it was all styrofoam.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of concussions as a kid, so
I guess so.
I don't remember. Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of missing people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused on when we figure out when they're smiley. When are these parts of the Smiley Face Killings?
So I'm going to go into that.
Okay.
We'll
I'm just wondering. I'm just like, This is a lot for me to handle right now.
You're jumping the gun just slightly.
You're just like, there's like 9 stories that I'm trying to listen to.
Well,
and I'm like, how do they tie? How do they tie? I'm getting anxious.
In this case, we're going to cover 75 of them.
No, we're not. You said 10.
I just wanted to worry you.
No, I'm trying.
Charlie. Okay, we're going back to the case of Todd Guy. Why are you yelling?
Because I can't.
Anyways, so Todd Guy, he goes to this sweet fucking orchard party, which sounds cool. Besides the fact that there's apples involved, which I can't stand. Todd was seen at the party multiple times by numerous witnesses, and there were no known reports of arguments or any altercations that involved him. At around 12:45, Todd called a friend and said that was at the party and said, "I'm in a field," which seemed unusual as he was supposed to be near the party. Kind of makes sense though. It's orchards or fields. At 12:57, just a few minutes later, Todd made another call to that same friend, but was cut off mid-sentence trying to describe where his location was, which was his last known communication. He was not seen again after this, alive. After that, Todd seemed to disappear. His car remained parked at the party location, and no one reported seeing him leave. Friends and family searched the surrounding area for Todd after he failed to return home. Law enforcement was also brought in to search the fields, orchards, and nearby lakes, but no sign of Todd was found during the initial search. Given the proximity of Ovid Hall Lake, searchers focused heavily on this body of water, but in the early days of the investigation, they found no evidence suggesting Todd had fallen into the lake. However, on July 2nd, 21 days after his disappearance, Todd's body was found floating upright in Ovid Hall Lake, meaning that his head and shoulders were above the water.
Knees and toes.
And his knees and toes were below the water.
Yep.
Only 600 feet from where this party had taken place. His body was found in an upright position with his head and shoulders above the water. This is unusual for drowning victims who are generally found face down or submerged. This position of his body suggested that he may have been dead for a short time before being placed in the lake. Todd's body showed signs of being in the water for only a few days, like 2 at the most.
Yeah.
Not the full 21 days he had been missing, raising questions about where he had been during that time. The medical examiner initially ruled Todd's death an accidental drowning, noting alcohol in his system. His blood alcohol content was reportedly high, up around 0.2, which may have impaired his judgment if he wandered away from the party. However, the condition of Todd's body did not align with being submerged in the water for 3 weeks. Instead, it appeared that he had been dead for only a short time. There was no water in his lungs again, which would be expected in the drowning case, raising doubts about whether he had drowned or died elsewhere before being placed in the lake. The coroner later added an undetermined component to the ruling, so it was no longer an accidental drowning, it was an undetermined drowning, reflecting the ambiguity surrounding the case. The upright position of Todd's body when it was found was highly unusual. Drowning victims are rarely found in this position, and it suggested that he may have been placed in the lake after his death. The only other reason I could think why he would be floating that way was that he was tied down by something or held down by something, so his lividity sunk and all of the rest of the liquid in his body and weight sunk down to his feet, so his feet were weighed down, or his feet and his lower legs were weighed down, which would make his upper torso and his shoulders and head come out of the water, or that's the only way that he could float that way, was what I had seen from potential reports of how you can even make a body float like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Forensic experts suggested that Todd's body showed signs of being in the water much shorter than expected. Given that Todd was missing for 3 weeks, but his body seemed to have only been in the water for a few days, investigators began to suspect foul play. As mentioned, there was a lot of pressure from the GBI team to reopen and relook at this case because it didn't make sense how little decomposition was held on the body. Once the GBI team learned of this investigation, they dressed several pigs in clothing and left them in the lake around the same time of year when Todd's body went missing. While police reports indicate that the body was in the water for 21 days and had experienced only minimal deterioration and slippage, the GBI experiment found that within 3 days, the pig's body had been more worn than Todd had been in 21 days. While along this experiment...
What the fuck?
So during this experiment...
I just hate that they just threw pigs in there. They're like, hey, let's fucking kill these pigs.
They were dead. They were already dead.
All right.
Yeah, they were already dead pigs.
You
throw live pigs in and just like...
failed to mention
every
that
time
part.
the pigs try to get out of the water, they just push them back in. That's not
Shut
how
up,
this-
pigs. We're trying to solve a murder.
Get back out there. Go on, swim.
Well, I just kept thinking about like dolphins, like live dolphins getting tested.
No,
by,
dude.
testing makeup on dolphins. You're like, what? They're just throwing live pigs in.
You thought they threw live pigs in?
I don't know. I don't know.
Did you hear about this before? No. Oh, okay. I thought you had heard about this and you assumed that they had thrown live pigs in.
No, this part was...
No, they put about 10 pigs into the water. And because...
10 dead pigs.
Dead pigs. Yes. We should clarify there are 10 dead pigs. I think... they put
This is why I get drunker than you, dude.
So they put in these 10 pigs, and every like couple days they take one out and examine it. Not only just like its outward state, but its insides as well, to see how the lake was affecting the actual like flesh of the pig. For those that don't know, pigs have very similar anatomical design to humans, so they use them quite frequently for specifically forensic pathology to determine like how people die, what skin does under certain, conditions.
So I'm not fat. I'm just pig shaped. Is what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I don't even know what you want me to say to that.
Don't fat shame me, dude.
I wouldn't dare. Anyways, so within 3 days, the pig bodies had been more worn than Todd had been in 21 days. They examined 2 pigs that were left for the full 21-day duration and had pretty much... those pigs had turned to almost complete mush, being that this is the middle of the summer where are we in? Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Raising doubts on whether or not he had been in the water for the full 21 days. All of these Midwest cases so far have piqued the interest of Dr. Lee Gilbertson, but it would be the case of Scott Radel that took place in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Gilbertson's own hometown, in 2006 that would draw him into action. Scott Radel was a 21-year-old attending St. Cloud State University, attending St. Cloud Technical College, not St. Cloud State, where Gilbertson was employed. Mm-hmm. His disappearance took place on February 1st, 2006. Scott and his friends went out drinking at the Red Carpet nightclub in downtown St. Cloud. Sounds like an interesting place.
Yeah, why not?
The Red Carpet nightclub. After a night out, Scott became separated from his group of friends. Again, a common theme.
I got you, buddy.
Dude, I can open a fucking beer.
You're just having a hard
I
time.
was just waiting for you to pour my drink. It was a
Ask
freezing winter
nicely.
night, and his friends
Jesus.
initially thought he had made it home safely, but Scott never returned. 12 days later, on February 13th, his body was found in the Mississippi River near a bridge in downtown St. Cloud. There were no immediate signs of foul play or trauma on his body. Official cause of death was ruled as accidental drowning. It was suggested that Scott may have been intoxicated and fallen into the river while walking home. A toxicology report showed that Scott had alcohol in his system, which likely impaired his judgment. While there is seemingly less contradictory evidence about Scott's case to support the accidental drowning, it pushed Dr. Gilbertson into action, and then in 2006, he compiled a list of 22 possible linked cases. Shortly after Dr. Gilbertson published his works, Dr. Gannon and Anthony Duarte, who we mentioned earlier, traveled to St. Cloud, Minnesota, to discuss Dr. Lee Gilbertson's findings and relate their own case theory on the Smiley Face Killers. It should be noted, at this point, we have not really discussed the Smiley Face moniker that is attached to these cases.
At all. So saying.
When Gannon was investigating Patrick McNeil's case and the other 2 men who drowned in New York City, he found smiley face graffiti at the locations where it was believed that all of the men went into the water, not where they were found. However, it should be stated that only 15 or 20 of the eventual 40 cases that would be originally tied to the Smiley Face Killers, murders, killer, or signs of a smiley face graffiti were ever found. I don't know, do you want me to go further into that? So we have the original 3 cases in New York City where Detective Gannon formulates what we will know as the Smiley Face Killers. Now, there are another 10 or 12 out of the 22, so about half that Dr. Lee Gilbertson finds in their full investigation by the time that they go public in 2008 that have somewhere located either at the dump site where they may have gone into the water or at the retrieval site where they're pulled out of the water. They find graffiti specifically of a smiley face.
Yeah, it was just like half, right? So that's why there's the
like almost directly half.
That's why there's the controversy of if it's all connected.
Correct. The only reason I bring up the fact that bring it up this late is that before the 2 detectives out of New York meet with Detective Lee Gilbertson, the 3 cases in New York all have graffiti.
Okay.
So they have already kind of formulated this opinion before they go deep dive into all of these other cases, specifically in the Midwest.
Oh, that makes sense.
So they have already labeled them in their own minds as the smiley face killings. And yes, they bring up later that they call it the smiley face killings, but I don't think that even Detective Gannon or Lee Gilbertson would say that it's an apt title for the entire case because it's not a 100% common every single case kind of thing. So you can't call it that. That guy's cool.
Big old dick.
All right. Anyways, after Detective Gannon and Duarte meet with Lee Gilbertson, GDI, or Global Death Investigations, would bring on Dr. Lee Gilbertson as a 3rd member. A 4th member who had been working in conjunction with Dr. Gilbertson on his findings is named Cyril Weck. Cyril Weck is a forensic pathologist and would become a later staple of the GDI investigations team going forward. Shortly after the formation of GDI Trio, another victim, Lucas Holman, would go missing in September of 2006. Lucas Anthony Holman was 21 years old. This case takes place in La Crosse, Wisconsin. He was a senior at the University of Wisconsin, La Crosse, majoring in exercise science and sports science. He was described as outgoing, responsible, a well-liked student with no history of risky behavior. On the night of his disappearance, September 29th, 2006, Lucas was celebrating Oktoberfest, a large event in La Crosse known for heavy drinking. He was out with friends at various bars, but by the end of the night, around 10:30, Lucas got separated from his group. His friends assumed he would find his way home, but when he didn't show up, they reported him missing the next day. On October 2nd, 3 days later, Lucas's body was found in the Mississippi River near Riverside Park in downtown La Crosse. He was found less than a mile from where he was last seen alive. Lucas was ruled as an accidental drowning, just like all of the other cases in this whole theory. The La Crosse County Medical Examiner ruled that Lucas died from drowning, noting the presence of alcohol. From accidental drowning, noting the presence of alcohol in his system. Toxicology reports revealed a blood alcohol content that was at 0.28, which is heavily intoxicated at the time of his death, which likely impaired his judgment. The inconsistencies tied to this case are insane, but there's a lot of them. Lucas was apparently beaten or had lots of bruises around his face. This is as they found his body. There was also apparently a theory that Dr. Cyril Weck not only concluded but matched a boot on his forehead, indicating his head had been held down or stomped by that boot. There was reports that Lucas had a confrontation with a band that was playing at a local bar. Lucas apparently was urinating next to band gear, and this started a fight. The fact that Lucas had a direct altercation with someone before his untimely death made his ruling of accidental drowning incredibly suspicious to Gannon and his team. Another interesting thing to mention is that Lucas was one of several men who had fallen victim to accidental drowning in La Crosse, Wisconsin in those past few years, so from 2003 until 2006. Between 2006 and 2008, GDI would tirelessly work not just to find new cases, but also the ties between suspicious deaths as a result of drowning, young athletic men in the Midwest and the Northeast part of the United States. One of these cases would be that of Tommy Booth. Tommy Booth was a 24-year-old man from Ridley Township, Pennsylvania. He was described as a fun-loving, sociable person who enjoyed spending time with his friends and family. He had no history of mental health or risky behavior. However, it was reported that he had maybe fallen in with a bad crew, as he had disclosed maybe that he was involved with drug dealing or muling with an uncle of his. On January 19th, 2008, Tommy went to celebrate a friend's 21st birthday at Bootlegger's Bar in Woodland, Pennsylvania. It was one of those, I think they're super weird kind of bars in like strip malls where there's like, it just like doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a bar to be there because it's just kind of thrown in there for
close
people
to
to
home.
drink at. I don't like
Close to home, dude. Who cares? You've never lived in the city.
I haven't lived in the city ever.
Never lived in a city where a strip mall or bar was close to you and it was great.
But they're so weird. I don't know. Strip mall bars are weird. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, he was last seen on surveillance footage entering the bar with his friends. But after a night of partying, Tommy went missing. His friends claimed that they noticed he had disappeared after they had left the bar. Reportedly, he had gotten in a fight with another customer and both had been asked to leave. A massive search effort was launched when he didn't return home the next day. On January 24th, 8 days after his disappearance, Tommy was found face down in Ridley Creek, the creek literally right behind Bootlegger's Bar. However, the creek had been previously searched during the days following his disappearance, and no body had been found, which raised significant questions. His body was discovered in an area of the creek that had already been combed by search parties, leading to speculation that had been placed there afterwards. The medical examiner ruled Tommy's death as an accidental drowning, suggesting that he may have fallen into the creek while intoxicated. However, some unusual aspects of the case led many, including Tommy's family, to question this conclusion. His family pointed that Tommy was a good swimmer, and he was found in extremely shallow water. His body also showed no signs of being in the water for the full 8 days, raising suspicions that it may have been placed there later. It should be noted that a smiley face was later painted on the back of the bar, where it is believed Tommy went in the water. In fact, at one point after Tommy's death, it was painted over only for someone to come back and paint the smiley face again. It was after Tommy's death in the summer of 2008 that the GDI team called a press conference and originally proposed their theory to local and federal law enforcement officials about the Smiley Face Killers. In this press conference, they claim that they have substantial evidence linking a network of serial killers or killer who are abducting, drugging, killing, and then disposing of their victims in the water. We finally get to the point where it's like, this is the story that we're going to propose to the entire world. Does any of this shit make sense yet?
Yeah. Every single one of them sounds very similar to each other.
Yeah, right? There's a pretty concurrent theme
Common
here.
theme, yes.
Yep. Subsequent interviews with the GBI team detailed how they believe the Smiley Face gang communicates through the dark web, and at one point they were able to gain access to a homepage, but weren't able to log in as they did not have credentials. I did not find any information that validated this claim. Did you have any? You did some research on this?
No, I just.
It seems like something absolutely silly that they were like, we fucking went on the dark. Like, do you know what the dark web is?
No.
Like actually, I don't fucking get it. I don't know where do you find it?
You have to have a different operating system. Like you have to.
What is that? You go on Linux?
Yes, like Linux or something like that, where you can get to the dark web. That's all I really know.
I got Firefox. I bet that works.
No.
DuckDuckGo.
I don't think Firefox is a thing anymore.
What?
I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, Firefox Focus. It's just... Again, we're going to get into this weird thing where I'm like super focused on my privacy and like it deletes all of your searches as soon as you close it.
Oh.
Yep, Firefox Focus. Download it. Or DuckDuckGo. Either one works really well.
Okay.
Joe Rogan, that's a shout out. In early October 2009, another prominent case popped into the GBI's radar. This would be the case of William Hurley. William Hurley was a 24-year-old Navy veteran and a part-time golf course worker at the time. He was born in Quincy, Massachusetts, and was living in Boston. William had served in the Navy and was in a long-term relationship with his girlfriend, Claire Mahoney. On October 8th, 2009, William was attending a Boston Bruins hockey game with a friend at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. According to reports, Hurley was not feeling well and decided to leave the game early. He called his girlfriend, Claire, to come pick him up. During this call, Hurley mentioned that his phone battery was just about dead, and he gave her directions to his actual location, which he ended up actually asking and then yelling, like telling her. So he was like, "Hey, where am I?" Like he was like so disoriented that he didn't know where he was. Someone yelled to him, and he repeated the same thing back to her. It was 1100 Nashua Street. It was just outside the arena. Claire, at the time, was about 150 yards away from where he was. When Claire arrived at that location a few seconds later, William was nowhere to be found, and he stopped answering his phone. On October 14th, 2009, so this is 6 days after his disappearance, his body would be found in the Charles River near the location where he was last seen. His body was discovered in shallow water close to a stretch of Nashua Street. The area had been searched multiple times before his body was found, raising questions about whether he had been in the river for the full 6 days at all. His death again was ruled as an accidental drowning. The Boston Police Department and the medical examiner ruled Hurley's death accidental due to alcohol intoxication as a contributing factor. A toxicology report indicated a high presence of GHB, often referred to as a date rape drug, in his system. GHB is known for causing sedation and memory loss, but its presence was dismissed as inconclusive. We should mention right now that at that press conference that Kevin Gannon had listed and in his subsequent interviews, he claimed that 99% of the victims that he attributed to the Smiley Face Killers, 99% contained more than just trace amounts of GHB, meaning that they were all drugged.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Several strange aspects of William Hurley's case have led many to believe his death was not simply an accident. He was in regular contact with his girlfriend, not just minutes before his disappearance, but also throughout the entire night. He explained that he was out with work friends, and there was one guy who was super annoying and claimed that he was going to kill him, jokingly, I think. I don't exactly know. But I just found that was interesting. There's the one dipshit dude that's super annoying at the Bruins game that just is pissing him off.
Every single person that's
now
a Bruins
all of a
fan.
sudden he gets drugged and he's obviously needing to leave the game. He's feeling very sick, disoriented, and he just disappears. His phone was also found smashed, maybe run over, near where he said that his location was, which raised suspicion about whether someone else had taken the phone from him and smashed it. The GHB found in the system suggested the possibility that he may have been drugged, but authorities did not investigate that angle thoroughly. Witness reports also saw Hurley near the stadium looking disoriented shortly before his disappearance, but there were no clear signs of how he ended up in the river. The last case we will cover that is truly attributed to the smiley face theory and is accepted by Gannon and the GBI is that of Dakota James. Dakota James was a 23-year-old from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was a graduate student at Duquesne University studying data analysis and science. He was described by friends and family as a responsible, bright, and caring person. He had no history of risky behavior, mental health issues, or excessive drinking. He was also quite athletic, making the circumstances of his death all the more puzzling. On January 25th, 2017, Dakota was last seen after a night out in downtown Pittsburgh with his friends. He was spotted on surveillance footage near Cat's Pizza in Pittsburgh's cultural district, walking alone after leaving his friends. According to his family, Dakota called a rideshare service to get home but never arrived at his apartment. 40 days after his disappearance on March 6th, 2017, Dakota's body was found in the Ohio River near Neville Island, approximately 10 miles downriver from where he was last seen. His body was found floating near a wastewater treatment plant in a state of decomposition consistent with being in the water for several days, though this contradicted, obviously, the official timeline. Several days versus 40 is a lot. He was again ruled accidentally drowned. The Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Dakota's death as an accidental drowning, suggesting that alcohol impairment may have contributed to him falling into the river. A toxicology report revealed that Dakota had consumed alcohol the night he disappeared, but there was no conclusive evidence that he had been heavily intoxicated. Dakota's phone and the surveillance footage showed some of the following strange details. He was seen walking away from the direction he would have taken to go home. His phone also showed no further activity after the time he was last seen on an actual camera. He had also been involved in a strange incident just weeks earlier where he had been found disoriented and confused after a company Christmas party, but had no memory of what had happened. At the time, he was in contact with a friend and had texted, "Help me, I'm scared." After this text, this friend was able to use location sharing to find Dakota. When she arrived, she found Dakota walking across a parking lot, headed towards a black SUV. She yelled at him and claimed that this action seemed to have awoken him from a trance. He had lost several hours of memory and was completely disoriented and scared. Going back to when he's actually found after his death, it didn't make sense that his body was not as decomposed as it should have been, just like with all of these cases. There was also signs of possible ligature marks on his neck suggesting strangulation, though this was not officially acknowledged by the medical examiner. Apparently, these markings were from dried blood and not actual ligature markings. The family doubted this, as it seemed absurd that dried blood stick to a body for 40 days while submerged in water. The water temperatures and conditions during the time Dakota was missing would likely have preserved his body in a different state if he had been in a river for the entire duration. This led speculation that his body had been placed in the river within 5 days. Now, Dakota's family, particularly his mother, Pamela James, has been outspoken in her belief that Dakota was murdered and that his death is connected to the Smiley Face Killers theory. This is the only big case we will cover tonight in which the death occurred after enough time had passed for a family or for anyone, detectives included, to be aware of the Smiley Face Killer theory. Pamela hired a private detective and an investigative forensic pathologist who both suggested that Dakota had been a victim of foul play. The private investigator noted that the lack of decomposition and the presence of mark on Dakota's neck as a potential signs of strangulation. The family believes that Dakota was abducted, held somewhere for a period of time, and then placed into the river to make it look like an accident. So, that is the end of the cases that I specifically have attributed and that Kevin Gannon has listed as his potential or confirmed victims of the Smiley Face Killers.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, where are we at in your brain?
In my brain, I heard a bunch of the same thing for over and over. They all sound like the same case. They really do. Right? I think they all tie together. After hearing them all, yes. That's where my brain's at.
Do you think they're tied together?
Well, we don't know. So you say there's half of these 40. We talked about 10, right?
Yeah, so what I would say is that,
hold on.
The 40,
we talked about 10.
Yeah.
And then we said that there's 10 of them or there's. We talked about 10.
In the
there's
grand
40.
scheme, there's about 40 in 2008
Yeah.
when they first come live and they go to the FBI and all of this. There's about 40 cases that they have in hand that they say they have direct evidence of these people are all tied together and it's a cult.
So
or it's a group of
So
serial killers.
why were these ones the ones that you wanted to bring up to tie together to this whole situation?
So these ones either help me tell, like, specifically there are, the Patrick McNeil and New York City deaths, as well as the Scott Radel death that hit home for Dr. Lee Gilbertson. These are cases that get them acting on things. The rest of the cases are the most suspicious or the most, I would say, it's makes you think, how are these classified as drunk people wandering in the water and drowning?
Yes. I thought they all sound like oddly similar.
Yeah.
Were all 10 of these ones that had like smiley faces connected to them?
So not all of the cases that we mentioned in this did have smiley faces. We have the first 3 in New York that do have smiley faces.
And then there was the one in the bar.
Yep. There's the one in Pennsylvania that does have a smiley face case or a smiley face. I have seen reports that Brian Welzian, there was a rock on the beach at Lake Michigan that had a smiley face attached. I don't know how much the smiley face is the calling card.
Yeah, so I guess
think that, in my opinion, and we can keep going on like updates about maybe cases that are even more recent than what I was able to figure and what have been officially accepted by Kevin Gannon as cases. But you have a few of these that, like, all of these fit the same, let's call them MO, or they have the same style of like, why are these bodies not more decomposed? Why are they found in places they shouldn't be found or places that have already been searched? I think, to me, it seems that there is more a case of people are realizing that it is either opportunistic to murder and dispose of a body in water, as it will, if it's there long enough, like get rid of evidence. But also, I think that it is incredibly difficult for an investigator to, if you keep these cases open, not only do you have to find a legitimate cause of death, which is very hard to determine. From there, you have to also start to investigate, not just like surface investigate, but you have to go into details of the case that if you just classify it as an accidental drowning, like,
well, you also
you don't have to do all the legwork. You don't have to do all the paperwork.
How many of these were classified? I don't think we brought that up. Like classified as accidental drownings instead of homicides. Like the first one was
every one of them was classified as either undetermined or accidental drownings to begin with. As of right now, I know of the ones that we specifically talked about.
The first
there's
one was
3 that have been changed from an accidental drowning to either an undetermined drowning, or in the case of, what is his name, Chris Jenkins, specifically determined it is a homicide. Now, they haven't gone anywhere, and nothing has happened with that investigation since 2002. But it has, since they reclassified it in 2006, since pretty much the GBI put the pressure on them to do so, same with Todd Guy, they have been reclassified, but nothing has been done.
Okay.
So the cases are reopened, yes, but they don't have any more answers because they don't have answers to give. I think that's the biggest reason why a lot of these cases are just ruled or accidental drownings, is because they don't have the evidence to try to chase down the leads. Like, they've done their due diligence. And do you want to keep a case open knowing that you're never going to solve it? Or do you close it and you get to put another case in the books?
That makes sense. But
it's not right.
No.
But at the end of the day, as a detective, maybe that's the easiest answer. A couple cases that maybe tangentially applied would be the case of Riley Strain, 2023, which was within the last year. Riley Strain, 22, went missing the night of March 8th after him and several of his fraternity brothers visited Nashville, Tennessee. He was last seen being kicked out of Luke Bryan's 32 Bridge Bar.
Mm-hmm.
You been there?
No.
In Nashville?
I have not.
I don't know. You travel the country a lot, so I didn't know if you went to Luke Bryan's bar or not.
No, sir.
So he was seen on surveillance having only had one drink, also having drank water, but was apparently still kicked out for having broken whatever code of conduct is acceptable for Luke Bryan's 32 Bridge Bar. And he arrived at the bar at 9:30. He's kicked out within the hour at 10:30. And the last scene, or like the last interaction that people have for him, there's surveillance. I don't know where the video footage is coming from, but he interacts with a police officer who says, "Hey, how you doing?" And he walks by and keeps going and says, "Hey, I'm doing good. Have a good night." He would be found 2 weeks later, about 8 miles downstream, which is not very far considering he was in a river for multiple weeks. I think that's something that we kind of didn't really get to in this like kind of episode, is like discussing how far bodies can travel. Although I have heard reports that the river that he fell into is one, incredibly shallow. It doesn't move very fast, and you can wade almost across the whole thing. He was found without his pants on, without his cowboy boots, his phone, or his wallet. And his bank card will be found 3 days after he went missing, but none of his other clothes have been. I feel like this is, from what I've seen, people like to attribute this to the Smiley Face killings as well. Yeah, I don't know.
So it all just like everything sounds similar. There's just nothing to really tie it all together.
Correct.
Other than half of them have smiley faces, correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly something to be said for the manner in which all of these men are going and how they are also found.
And they're also very similar, like builds, age, things like that.
They have there's very few, but there are a few outliers that are like older, like literally past 25-year-old men, white. Most, if not all, of the original 40 cases are the same person with the same things that happen to them, where they are out, they get somehow sick, have to leave their group. They're always, for some reason, usually out with a group. They disappear and are found in water, usually not as decomposed as they should be. I don't know. I can't remember. Like, there was a few that were like, oh, that person looks like they went. Like, I think there was a few cases that people looked like they were in the water for a long time. But most of them were like, oh, that person looks like a couple days to maybe a week, when they were found like 70 days after they went in the water. My biggest question is, I think that this is a great theory. I wonder if it hurts investigation, because if you, as a detective investigating these theories, subscribe to the Smiley Face Killers, you're seen as a ridiculous person. Like, you can't be trusted. You can't, like, police departments won't have someone that's like, oh, this could be part of the Smiley Face killings. Like, they're going to dismiss that immediately, and you're going to probably be let go. Whereas if this maybe wasn't made so sensational, a lot of my information has come from like an Oxygen documentary that they did, which was really good. Maybe a little dramatic and hyperbolic, but that's Oxygen for you. But I think that maybe it's blown a little bit out of proportion and made to be a little bit ridiculous, to where detectives aren't opening cases again because they don't want to be seen as subscribing to the thought that maybe there's something else going on here and that these deaths aren't just accidental. Maybe they do, like, maybe it is some kind of, foul play going on. And they're saying, nope, we're not going to do that because we don't want to be labeled as subscribing to the Smiley Face Killer theory. I think that maybe Kevin Gannon may be hurting his own investigations by having brought the spotlight on it and proposing maybe a little bit of a ridiculous theory.
So that's crazy to me because everyone loves true crime.
For sure.
So why do they dismiss things like this when they're that obviously tied together in some part?
Because yes, you and I love true crime.
Yeah.
But no one wants to hear the word serial killer in their department. It's I think that was a quote from Kevin Gannon in the press conference that he had in 2008, where he's describing the fact that there's a reason why no one's investigating these crimes as being linked is because no one wants the people to panic.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, what is happening down in Austin right now, where there is quite possibly a serial killer who is disposing of bodies in the waters, either at, Lady Bird Lake?
Yeah, it's all at Lady Bird Lake.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple in the 6th Street and stuff like that. But yeah, there's been a few deaths in Austin, and I think they kind of correlate one with just the fact that it's easy to dispose of a body that way and have it wash away a lot of evidence. And also dude, people just love to assume that if you're drunk, you drowned.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. What do you got, dude?
That's all I got.
Yeah.
It was heavy.
I think we did a pretty good one on this.
Yeah, I agree. Got nothing, dog.
Yeah.
I'm out of steam.
You're telling me.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, please like and subscribe. You know where to find us. We're on all of your favorite platforms. And then, please, drink down those demons.
Drink down the demons. Also, if you're with a friend that's too fucking drunk to stand and they're puking and stuff like that, take them home. Personally. You can call a ride. Just make sure that person gets home. It's that was I think maybe one of the harder parts of this whole case is these people were for the most part just left to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, people get sick. I had a good buddy carry me home from a bar about a year ago. This time of year with my girlfriend. She was there as well. They carried my ass home after I was 100% drugged. And, it could have been a different story if I didn't have good friends like this guy here. So take care of each other, all right?